Okay, let's have a sesh on the current ratio. In this video, I really want to look at what the number means that comes out at the end and how to evaluate it. But firstly, a quick reminder. So the current ratio, you find what you need for this, which is current assets over current liabilities, all on the balance sheet, on the statement of financial position. Current ratio is sometimes referred to as liquidity ratio because it's basically measuring how liquid your company is. Current assets, types of current assets, also found on the balance sheet. Debtors, cash, stock, and current liabilities, creditors and overdrafts. So these are short-term things you owe, and these are short-term things you own. Now imagine your debtors was 3, your cash was 5, and your stock was 2. 3 plus 5 plus 2 is 10, quick maths. So 10 would go here, that's your current assets. Current liabilities, creditors 4, overdrafts 1, 4 plus 1 is 5. 10 divided by 5, so your current assets divided by your current liabilities, gives you 2, or 2.0. 2.0 is seen as kind of the benchmark. The range is between 1.5 and 2.5, but think of 2 as the benchmark. Because 2 suggests, 1, you have good liquidity, as in you have enough current assets to cover your current liabilities twice. And number 2 is good working capital management, because you want to obviously make sure that you have more current assets than current liabilities, but there becomes a point where it's just too much. There's only a certain amount of times you need to cover your current liabilities. You don't need to cover it 10 times, for example. Which leads me to, let's look at if you were to have a current ratio of 10, so a really high number, or a current ratio of 0.5, so a really low number. Well, the worst case scenario is if you have a low number, so less than 1 as your current ratio, because it basically means you're unable to cover your short-term liabilities. You can't cover your creditors, people you owe your money to in the short term, and you can't cover your overdrafts. That indicates massive cash flow issues. So that would indicate that you have poor liquidity and poor working capital management, because you're just not managing your assets and your liabilities in the short term, so your current assets and your current liabilities well. The other side is if you have a really high number. Now it's not as bad as if you have a low number, but it still can be a problem. So if you have a high number for your current ratio, well, the reason is probably going to be because your current assets is very high, because either your debtors is really high, your cash is really high, or your stock is really high. So if your debtors is really high, well, maybe you need to start chasing up on those debts quicker, ensure they're paid to you. Is there a reason why you have so many debtors? Do you need to fix that? If your cash is so high, well, why is your cash so high? Could you be doing something better with your cash? Because it's not necessary for you to cover your current liabilities 10 times over. Or your stock, why have you got so much stock? So in the case of a high number, for instance 10, that suggests that you've got good liquidity, yes, because you're covering your current liabilities 10 times over in this case, but could you be doing something better with all those current assets you've got? Could you be managing your working capital better? So it could indicate that you have poor working capital management. I hope that helps with the current ratio, and if this question comes up, smash it.